Well, you're not going to believe this, but the movie 28 Days Later is actually social commentary about HIV and homosexuality, and I can prove it. Recently, I was rewatching 28 Days Later when the meaning of this movie hit me in the gut like a ton of bricks. Just the title, 28 Days Later, refers to the HIV duo test, which is a test that can detect the virus in a newly infected person 28 days after infection. It is called duo because it combines the tests for the antibodies for the HIV 1 and 2 strains by testing the P24 antigen. The test is considered 99.8% accurate at 28 days. Okay, let's get into the movie. At the beginning of the movie, we see the monkeys, and we all know that HIV is believed to have originated in monkeys and was then transferred to people through the consumption of bushmeat. Bushmeat is when hunters kill monkeys and then sell their meat in wet markets, similar to what happened with the coronavirus. One of the things we see in the movie is the eyes of the infected in the movie are like bloodshot and red. And this is actually a real symptom of HIV patients. It's called CMV retinitis and can lead to blindness in HIV patients. So the movie starts off with Jim in the hospital. And the first scene that we see is Jim nude. We see male nudity. Jim is the only character that we see nude in the film. So it focuses us on male nudity. So I believe that this male nudity is a subtle wink at male homosexuality. Then the first infected person that Jim actually hits is a priest. Again, a subtle nod at homosexuality and what's been going on in the Catholic Church. Jim, he then meets a man and a woman, and he becomes part of their group. But this is an unnatural group, as it is two men and one woman. The woman has short hair like a man. You'll see throughout the movie that we are always looking for natural relationships, a male and a woman. And we'll see this play out again and again throughout the movie. The movie tells us that a male-male or a female-female relationship is wrong, and there's only a future when you have a male-female mating. So at Jim's home, the group encounters an infected person, and Mark is bitten on the arm, and Selena quickly kills him. Now Jim and Selena are a couple, so we have that natural bond between a man and a woman. And this is when they see the Christmas lights at the apartment. And it's like these Christmas lights are calling them or guiding them. And of course, with Christmas lights, we have the obvious religious connotation of salvation, of Christ, of, okay, now you're a male and female, you're doing what's right. So they get to the apartment and they come encounter to a father and daughter. Now, this is a male and female pairing, but it's not a normal pairing since it would be incestuous. Now, the father takes Jim up and he shows him all the empty buckets up on the roof. And he talks about how it's so strange that it hasn't rained in London. So here we get another hint at some religious connotation. So first you have the plague, which you could say HIV is a plague. And now we have drought, which is another thing used in the Bible to show God's wrath or his judgment on his people. So they decide they're going to leave the city and they make their way all the way to the barricade. This is where the father now becomes infected and he is killed by the soldiers. And so all of the soldiers take Jim and the women to the house. And while at the house, we learn of Captain West's plan. He tells Jim that he promised his men women because women mean a future. Again, we get that male-female pairing is important. Now, because Jim doesn't agree with this, he and the other soldier are taken out to be killed. And the one soldier, instead of just shooting the corporal, he's going to stick him with his phallic-like knife on the end of his machine gun. Now, I believe this is kind of a reference to, a male sticking another male with a phallic object. Again, a natural, which leads to death. Now, Jim, he's able to escape. And so now that he's able to escape, he gets back to the house. And since the movie's always showing us that male, female is natural, with all these soldiers and just 2 women, again, that would be unnatural. So Jim ends up killing all the soldiers and saving the 2 women. Now they're going to leave, and they go to get in the car, and we find Captain West sitting in the back seat. So he shoots Jim, but Hannah backs the car up into the house. The infected soldier is able to break the back window and pull Captain West out and kill him. And now I believe that this is a subtle hint, again, to homosexuality. Because how is Captain West killed? He's killed by an infected soldier being pulled out the rear window of the car. Rear. Could that be a subtle hint at anal sex? I don't know. So, now Jim, Hannah, and Selena all escape. And they live because now they are natural. We have a family, a man, a wife, which would be Selena, and a child, which would be Hannah. So now they're a family. And then we see, while Jim is sleeping, we see the word hell. And I think this is a reference to the religious people who so much hate and attack homosexuals, and always say that they're going to hell because they're unnatural. And then now we also see the last of the infected, they're wasting away. And anybody who's ever read or seen anything about HIV, as HIV patients enter the last stages before they die, HIV is like a wasting disease. They lose a lot of weight. They get to a point where they can't eat. They become very skinny, and they pass away. And then we see the jet flies over, and we see that the sign doesn't say hell, it says hello. And we're led to believe that it's a happy ending because, again, they're in a nice, clean environment out of the dirty city. And they're a family, a natural family, a man, a woman, and a child. So that's what I think 28 Days Later is about. So if anybody out there has any ideas and says, you're wrong, Dave, put it in the comments. I'm happy to read what you say. So this is David, Zoe Zizzles. Make sure to like and subscribe. Bye.